Question for the election. Which one of you elitists that are going to have the privilege of sitting in public office as a public servant are going to repeal all the bad laws off the books? Now, I'm not just talking about, willy-nilly any laws, but if you look at the Constitution Act, in North American, what we call the 1867 Constitution, if you look at that, and then the 1982 Constitution and the Charter, which I believe it reads that this Constitution is the supreme law of Canada. Yet all I see are bad laws on the books that they're breaking. So we're supposed to be able to, the man I address is Trudeau Sr., God rest his soul. He pretty much said publicly way back when, that, hey, if you don't like my laws, take it to court. Well, the only problem with that is the judiciary and the legal society, they're supposed to be separated, right? The judiciary is, public. It's a public well, it's supposed to be a public function. Like it's, they're supposed to be there first and foremost on behalf of the nation. It's a place to work out our indifferences in a public forum without having to burn down each other's barns, which I've mentioned that before, It's supposed to be a way to, stay out of the feudal system as well. But the judiciary and, our safety net is a court of record, trial by jury, where the magistrate, the man or woman in the black robe, is independent of the tribunal. All right. So, if you go down to the courthouse, your public courthouse, okay, that's your building. Okay, that public building belongs to the public. And I'm pretty sure mankind is still part of the public, right? You do not have to be qualified as a legal person to enter a public building or pass through the public in private. But I'll get to the public and private thing some other time. So you go down and say, okay, you say, well, there's a bad law in the books, and I wish to challenge it, or somebody has charged you under a bad law that's just totally wrong, and how it got through the checks, and oh yeah, we don't have elected Senate either. Right, so that's how it gets through the checks and balances, because there really is none. It's when I'm reading these laws like that new federal law there, the one that allows them to come into your home 2 hours after you've been home and take your property, because one of the communist Chinese hybrid neighbors of yours decided to phone the cops because they don't like you and said you're swerving all over the road. So you're home having a beer, and all of a sudden these guys show up in your house, which are usually pretty big boys, and pretty much under threat and duress, you're going to give up your property. Otherwise, they're just going to take everything from you right there. Boom, there, done. No more court case. Okay. Now, I know the Constitution reads that the government has to recognize that everybody's presumed innocent until proven guilty. But the only problem is they took the court away for such a thing. Ooh. So, and the law is reverse onus. So, the law itself, put up to the mandate that the government is supposed to operate under, the legal society. Everyone presumed, everyone has a right to access justice. Like, okay, well, if you're innocent until proven guilty, well, now that's a bad law. And any law in the books that presumes anybody, where the presumption is on the defendant to prove themselves innocent, is actually wrong on this land. This is not a Napoleonic civil code land. All right, this is not a Sharia law land. This is a common law land. All right. So, bad law in the books. Okay, so you're down at the courthouse. Now you would like to be tried by a jury of your peers. Well, they've got that slanted now. So the legal society has what they call a jury trial, and then but your inherent access to a trial by jury, they don't even have forms for it. All right. So if you wish to have a trial by jury where the magistrate is independent of the tribunal, and put it to your peers within your society that, hey, look, guys, this is a bad law. Of course, I can't conform to that. If I conform to this, I'm actually committing treason against myself, and actually I'm dishonoring the nation by entertaining such a bad law. Of course, I have to stand up against this. But if you go down to your courthouse, you'll find that there is no paperwork provision or standard fee for a man or woman to hold a proper. And see, this is our safety net in the free world. So I guess if they want to make us more like the Western world instead of the free world, I guess I don't really need. People don't really have a right. Just whatever's privileged to them, given to them as a privilege by the highfalutin dictators and classes of persons within the elite of this nation. That's what's going on. It's time to change. So which one of you politicians, okay, which one of you money-grubbing public sapsuckers are going to stand up and say, hey, look, we need to bring back the court of record and make sure that any of mankind can walk into their public building and go ahead and file a suit, file a claim, build a suit, and go after bad laws like that. Now, I know all legal people are going, well, you could do constitutional challenge. Yeah, well, no, you don't know what happens to a man or woman who tries to, or who goes and does a constitutional challenge. I mean, they're surrounded by big ugly sheriffs and coppers. They're laughed at, they're intimidated, they're ridiculed by the judiciary and the legal society. I only know of one guy out of about, besides that law student in Ontario a few years back, she managed to get one, but she was working her way into the legal society, so I could see that. I could see him giving her that one. But let's say I only know of one, Joe Public, right? Just one man that was able to properly hold a constitutional challenge and win, which he should have. Pretty much all the others, I've seen them kicked out of courthouses. I've seen them thrown in dungeons and chains. So guys, we really don't have a proper recourse anymore, or a way to redress bad laws that are on the books. So it comes down to all what they've narrowed us down to, what the elites who pretend to act as public servants that live off the public purse and all the privileges and benefits they receive for fulfilling their obligations, duties, and responsibilities. Which you guys see these guys doing that? I don't. So it's coming down to, okay, well, I guess you could, if you don't like this government, you can vote in another one. But they don't seem to backtrack on any of these bad laws, which is completely wrong. All right. So these guys are authoritarians, dictators. Just look at the way the election's being run. Yes, I realize everybody gave Elizabeth May, um, you know, a hard time when she started up her Green Party. I don't know if she's the only politician that publicly said that, you know, Canadians are just stupid. But I took that as an insult back when she did that. That was back in the 90s. And look at the state of our nation now. Yeah, maybe we are. Elizabeth, maybe you were right. But maybe not. So which one of these politicians is going to go and get rid of these unconstitutional bad laws? And like I say, that Constitution is the mandate that they have to operate under. When they don't operate under that Constitution, you know, Charter, Constitution, 1867, 1982, when they step out of that, they have stepped out of their mandate. They're no longer operating within the office. And now they should be able to be held on their own personal liability as soon as they do that. So which one of you guys that's I was going to say, which one of you guys begging to be the Prime Minister now, you know, this great and wonderful public servant? But none of you guys are begging. I mean, Scheer, you know, like, wake up, buddy. I mean, literally, just wake up. You know, wake up. You know, I remember, anybody, hey, Google Casper Milquetoast. And then, you know, he's going to, you know, what's he going to do? What's he going to do? He's going to slowly take us down this path of destruction, of the destruction of a great, could have been great nation. Trudeau, he doesn't even give a shit. The man I address is Justin Trudeau. He just doesn't care. Look at him. Yeah, well, you know, I'll do one debate for the nation. I'll do a couple in Quebec. Hey, you know, whatever. Where's my heliport? My cottage. You know. Yeah. So which one of you guys is going to go and repeal all the bad laws that are unconstitutional? I'm talking about ones where there's reverse onus, say, proven, you know, somebody having to prove themselves innocent. They're guilty until proven innocent. That is just wrong. Now, even though they play with us by classifying you as some kind of person, to basically say that's why they have jurisdiction over you. Okay, there's those of mankind behind every person, and so yeah, you may be able to legally attack the person, have them arrested, take their property, throw them out in the street, throw them in prison, in a dungeon, whatever you wish, right? Because that's what it's about, what you wish, not what the people wish. But at the same time, it's wrong because you're harming, you're causing harm, loss, and injury to those of mankind that are behind the person. And just because you call them a certain class of person, doesn't mean they were operating as that class of person at the time. You just wish to presume it, and then you wish to intimidate and force them to be seen as that statutory creature that you do have, that we allowed you to have jurisdiction over. And yes, statutory creature is real. So it's not my wish to act as any kind of statutory creature unless I see a definite benefit of it. Now, even though we all qualify, you know, especially those of this land do qualify to be seen as a statutory creature, a class of person of some sort, there is no law that forces anyone to act as such. You know, just because I qualify for something, and I might wish, say, okay, I'll get that document, that license, or this license, or whatever. One day I might see a benefit in it. Just because I possess something of the government, of the corporate body, it doesn't mean that I act as that person just because you decided that, hey, this is a way I can cause harm, loss, and injury to that man and keep him in his place. Yeah, keep my foot on his head. Woo. So that's basically what happens these days. So who's going to repeal all the bad laws off the books? Do you believe that lawyers should be allowed to be politicians? I don't. I think if you're creating a law and you need to be technical about it, okay, so you're creating some kind of legal document, I think the best way and the best money spent from the people whose currency you operate, all right? I think my money, your money, his money, her money, government, you don't have any money, all right? You only have what you get off of the people's natural resources. That belongs to the people. And you only get what you extort out of the people. But you have no money. That's all public money that you deal with. So I think it's money well spent if we say, okay, we put it out for bid, we're creating some kind of legal document, some kind of statute, some kind of act. Here's the basic layout. Okay, let's put the bid out and take a look at the best three bids that where someone from the legal society can come in and for the best price and somebody who's competent, and say hire three companies, three different law firms or whatever to write the statute and as best as they can that conforms to the mandate of the act that they wish to pass. Like I'd rather just hire them. Just hire them here. The Canadian people wish to have a new act on chewing bubblegum, and so here, write this up and make sure it conforms with the rights of the people and stays within the mandate of the Constitution, so that we don't step out of our mandate and become some kind of dictatorship. So that happens, and it passes through Parliament, and then passes through the unelected Senate, and then receives royal assent. Unless it doesn't receive royal assent, like if you look at the Bill of Rights, was it 1960? Diefenbaker couldn't get royal assent on it, so it became a piece of legislation, which is why it doesn't really hold water. Actually, the judiciary seems to not allow anything to hold water that they don't wish to hold water. I mean, it's their judiciary, it's not ours. The courts don't belong to the people. The court buildings do, but obviously the courts don't. Otherwise, there would be a basic document for a court of record trial by jury where the magistrate is independent of the tribunal. Simple as that. I think that if any man or woman's charged under a bad law on this land, that it is super, super, super important that we have the safety net of the people, okay, against dictating dictators like the man I address is Justin. Anyways, kind of a rant and a question in that somewhere. Definitely the rant part. All you guys that don't vote, please vote. Give Max a chance. Please vote.